So, does this look like a turkey egg to you? We're going to answer that in a couple minutes. But this week we have a very interesting episode for our Turkocalypse, as you know, our turkey egg that we have, as well as some other things. We're going to talk about how college is not much ado down in Florida these days. We'll talk about that article. We'll discuss what the mug of the week is and why it's important for you, being a wonderful person that you are, to help out people that you care about. And we're going to answer your questions if you're a member. So, break out the tryptophan. I don't know. I'm not eating turkey yet. But by the way, if you think this is a turkey egg, we got to talk. This is clearly just ceramic. And this is College Success Coaching, and I'm Eric Allen. Let's do this. All right, so welcome everybody, and happy Turkocalypse, Thanksgiving special. I like Turkocalypse better. If you saw the picture in the meeting room for all the members, it's just great. It's a turkey with two hatchets and just going nuts. So love that. But I'm going to talk about the mug of the week because that's important. It's a thing that we talk about. And this week, it is another Edible Arrangements mug for my high schoolers. As I just said in my last video, it was a yellow Edible Arrangements mug with brown on the inside. And that means that I got two of these, which means I had two Edible Arrangements things delivered to me in a cup. And again, I don't get any money for talking about this. I just get really excited about things that get delivered to me that I get to eat. So, jerky or, dark chocolate, coffee, mugs. I don't eat mugs. I have one mug that shattered. It looks like I ate it. The point is, this one made me really happy. I love Edible Arrangements. It's actually just edible now, like my other mug says, but it also says heartable. Aw. And this week it's turkeyable. Turkocalypsable. I'm not saying that 5 times fast. Anyway, so that's the mug of the week. Ooh, I gotta take a sip though. I just gotta make sure. That pumpkin spice, almost like pumpkin pie. Another one of my small projects defeated by delicious fruit pies. So inside joke to some of you who are a part of that. Let's get going, though. Let's talk about the article of the week. So the article of the week this week is going to be discussing college itself and people who question its authority. Speaking of authority, we do have the authority here to cut you off. You've had too much information, sir or ma'am. We're going to have to ask you to step outside of the bar. I hope you're not in a bar. You're a college student. Get out of here. But we're going to have to ask you to leave. You're not a subscriber. You're missing out on the questions and answers we're going to do. You're going to miss out on finding out what I would like to actually have at the Thanksgiving dinner table. And you're going to miss out on all the content and awesome resources and things that we get to have as subscribed members. And, because I started it. Kind of a subscribe member. It's like, what are those? Like, I'm not just the president. I'm also a client. Yeah, I watch my own videos. Somebody has to critique them, not be terribly mean and say nasty things. You should be joining us. It really is fun. It's a 2-week free subscription. You can just look at below. There's a link that you can click on. It'll get you right to the spot where it's like become a member. Choose whether you're in middle school, high school, or college. And you can just choose your level of what you're doing in life. And, if you're an adult, we're going to have one of those coming soon. Don't worry. But in the meantime, choose one of those and you can jump right on. It's a 2-week free subscription. After that, it's just $50 a week, which is really not that bad, all things considered. And let's face it, having information that puts you ahead of all the people who are not doing this is worth it, right? And if it's not worth it to you, talk to your parents. It's probably worth it to them to have you get ahead. So I'm really excited to have all the new people that have been jumping on here and getting a lot out of this. We are the elite, I'm not going to make bones about it. We're killing it. Our people are graduating. They're getting great grades. They're involved in things. They're Harvard kids and Colby kids, and they're at Cornell and Johns Hopkins, and they're in the top state schools in high schools and middle schools. So, that's what we all have in common. We care, we're achieving, not overachieving. I'll do a whole video on that, but we're not overachievers. We're just high achievers. But come join us. It's a great time. And, why not? What do you have to lose besides, not being behind, I guess? It'd be great to see you, honestly. And you could jump in and get your questions answered every week, just like my subscribers get to. They won't get to see this time. But if you subscribe, actually, you'll get to see the video of this. So you'll see the questions and answers for the next time that you log in. So can't wait to see you there. The article of the week has a really long title. Politics, practicality, price, colon. This is kind of like a bad horror movie or like a cheesy sci-fi movie where it has the colon and like the reckoning. Across Florida, rural students put off by perceived weaknesses of higher education. It's not as catchy as The Reckoning or Deus Ex Machina or whatever. It's not as catchy. But it's a long title, but it's accurate. Wakulla County. Shelby Joyner's brother dropped out of Wakulla High School after his sophomore year and enrolled at a welding academy. Then he ended up at the top of his class. He tells me about it all the time, his little sister said. After all those stories, Shelby went to a cookout with her high school friends, welding students, who were searing elk and charring oysters on grills they'd made themselves. That sounds elk. Anyway, if you haven't had elk, it's so good. And soon, she was coming around to the humid welding workshop between classes. Petite, soft-spoken, Shelby learned to tie red bandanas around her bare ankles and shoelaces to keep them from burning and to guide the blue flame so it melds metal into painterly lines. There was power in that, and a future too for a 17-year-old in a forested patch of the Panhandle who says college was never her destiny. It seemed like such a fantasy world, she said. It's like only the smartest, richest kids got to pursue that. I'm going to stop right here for a second. If you're one of my college students, think about how privileged your position is right now. I hate to use that word, but it is important to realize you are considered like the richest, smartest kids. That's probably not that inaccurate, honestly, even if you considered yourself poor. Like, it's not like I grew up in a lap of luxury, but the opportunity that I had to go to an amazing school and get a great education and be in a clean, safe environment to learn is a huge privilege. It really is. I mean, I was very fortunate. I am very fortunate. And so are you in a lot of ways. And, we could talk about it, throw a one-to-one together with me if you really don't feel like you are, because you are. And I'd love for you to feel that way, because you should. You should feel great about where you're at. This person talks about us like we're royalty. It seemed like such a fantasy world, she said. Like only the smartest, richest kids got to pursue that. That's huge. I just want you to feel the impact of that. As we talk about Thanksgiving, wow, that's something to be thankful for. You're doing something that is a fantasy world for people in the Panhandle. Just saying. Rural students are far less likely than urban and suburban peers to go to college, and the divide is growing deeper in places across Florida. If they do go, rural students are less likely to choose four-year universities, and they're more likely to drop out. Many hail from deep red counties in the economic lurch, the same places where, in major polls, people say they're disillusioned with higher education. So it's not just that they don't think it's real for them, they don't trust it. But let's get into why, because I think that there's something to be said about what you could be doing to change that perception by being the change that you would hope they'd see in the next generation. So, there's a lot to this, and I want to unpack it. Shelby can't see herself working in an office all day. Neither could her sister, who joined the Louisiana National Guard, nor her brother, who wants to buy a welding machine for their backyard and start a lucrative family business. I like the grit and the hard, real effort, Shelby said. Lately, she's been working on turning a bus lug nut into a class ring. That is so cool, by the way. Many high school graduates will leave Wakulla County, where farming and manufacturing jobs are scarce, and a net ban battered the Gulf fishing industry. Those who do stay often teach, work at the power plant, or crawl along a one-lane road north to Tallahassee. So Superintendent Robert Pierce said their schooling must get them ready to make tough decisions. It's all about practicality, Pierce said. The mindset is, what makes the most sense? And that's not unfair. The 1990s era college for everybody sensibility has faded, he said, and thanks to Florida's investment in career training programs, high schoolers have options. That's actually very good. They split time at the community college to earn credits for free. They go to earn certificates and affordable 2-year degrees. Again, nothing wrong with that. And if you're one of my 2-year degree students, good on you. Like, you're doing what makes sense. And you should be doing what makes sense for you. But we'll keep going, so just stay with me on this. So the ambivalence toward 4-year universities, Pierce said, is more about a self-reliant way of life. There's respect for a college degree, albeit a certain kind. Business, computer science, agriculture, sure. Social work? That's probably a tough conversation across the coffee table and the kitchen tables in this county, he said. Rural families remain deeply skeptical of a pricey degree that could be useless back home. And they often don't have many resources that build a bridge to college and emphasize the undeniable benefits. Some 65% of today's jobs require education or training beyond high school. So here's what I want to break down. 65% of the jobs in the country require some kind of education beyond high school. There is an entire group of people who are disillusioned about college at large to the point where they're going to sit in that 35%. They're going to try for the 35%. Wow. Like, they're just dropping out of the race. They just don't want to do it. And that's, again, good on them. Do what you got to do. But basically, think about it this way. If college recruiters skip your far-flung district and your parents never got through more than a handful of night classes, you might not see a path for yourself. If you hear about student loan debt topping $1 trillion, you might write off college as a drain. So there's this perception that it's too expensive, which again, it could be if you're not looking for a lucrative and well-meaning, well-serving degree, which is one of the things we talk about all the time, right? Practicality. It needs to be something you're passionate about, you feel is valuable, you feel gives you purpose, but it has to sustain your lifestyle. It can't just be fun. If you have to live on your own, if you are not getting funding from a benefactor for the rest of your life, yeah, your degree should be practical too. And maybe the thing that's totally just for fun should be just for fun, and that's called a hobby. Doesn't mean you can't become an expert at your hobby. I'm planning on getting better and better at my hobbies. What's wrong with that? But your degree should be working towards a return on that investment. So I want to go through a little bit more about what it is that these students are having problems with. Folks in Wakulla County are pragmatic and proud, said Superintendent Pierce. There are, and this is a quote, there are people pissed about people kneeling for the flag at football games, people that like to have guns, he said. Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter. These are people who mow their own grass. They are used to the struggle of life. Angel Leonard's mom and teachers started telling her in 3rd grade that she was smart, that college was her path. You need to go there. You have to, they chanted. Totally, she thought. She got on an advanced academic track, had perfect attendance. Maybe she'd be an engineer or a lawyer. But something changed in her sophomore year at Wakulla High. Wow, that's actually a lot of school, a lot of money, a lot of time, she thought. I could just go get a job out of high school that only requires a little bit of education. That would be just fine. Her older brother did that, and after all, telling Angel about college, there's nothing there for me. It's also hard to stomach leaving when she has helped care for her 2 younger sisters. Her mom, who said, go, 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 has grown scared to lose her help as Angel streams toward the end of her senior year. At 17, she's on track to graduate as valedictorian. Just 1 class shy of an associate's degree, and she's applying to a few universities, such as Florida State. But she doesn't want the traditional college experience, the partying. She wants to get in and get out. 2 years, business degree, start a career, and real estate broker. That's if she doesn't get derailed by a collegiate jargon, unsubsidized loans, registrars, and comptrollers, demonstrated need, ED-Ds, and FAFSAs. All the stuff that we deal with all the time. She sees peers defeated by paperwork alone, like one of her best friends who talked about becoming a surgeon, but told her, Angel, this is very stressful. I'm just about to quit. So let's get this straight so far. We've got a culture that does not resonate with a huge group of people. High difficulty level or perceived difficulty level, and high cost, and a lot of jargon that is not familiar with first generation college goers. So that's just to get a running tally of what's stacked up against these people. Cameron Hatcher spent $50 a week on gas, but she reasons it's better than rent in Tallahassee. She turns up county or Christian music and tries to unwind on a long stretch to Interstate 10, an hour and 45 minutes from her in-laws' Pecan Farm to the FSU College of Law. Where I'm from, you're just so far away from the major university, she said. I was a very motivated student, but if I didn't have my parents behind me, I probably wouldn't be in law school right now. Going back to what I was saying before about that primary support group, it's so important. Her college-educated parents encouraged her to earn a degree, or else I would be making $10 an hour working for somebody else, she said. So for 2 years, while still in high school, she drove 40 minutes to Chipola State College, and then she spent a few more years driving to Florida State's Panama City campus 3 days a week, 1.5 hours each way, and now to Tallahassee. If I were going for history or psychology, I would be like, it wasn't worth it, she said. So then there's the other problem, lack of value in the degree or perceived value in the degree. So they go through some more individual stories about people who are having trouble in this area. And then it kind of wraps it up. So while 42% of Americans aged 18 to 24 are enrolled in higher education, just 29% of their rural peers are. And that's from the National Center for Educational Statistics. So this is not a number out of nowhere. More than half of Florida's rural students live in poverty. So over 50% are living in what's considered poverty. Nearly 40% are minorities. Florida has the nation's second lowest rural high school graduation rate. Why Rural Matters report? This is 2015 to 2016 information by the Rural School and Community Trust. So again, good statistics. College attendance has risen for both rural and urban students, but according to the Wall Street Journal, again, a credible source, the gulf between them is widening. The rural rise has been smaller, and the gap has more than doubled from 7 points in 1980 to 16 points by 2015. About 6 in 10 Americans said the higher education system in the U.S. is going in the wrong direction. That's 60%. So this is obviously including people who went. The vast majority cited high school tuition or high tuition and said that students weren't getting needed skills. Republicans, who were more than disapproving, often said students were wrongly being protected from offensive viewpoints and that professors were bringing political opinions into the classroom. And that's from a Pew Research study in 2018. So again, let's run down what the problems are. We have a problem of culture, where at least half of the population in the country feels like the culture in college campuses is not only not working, but it's damaging to students, especially for education. We have a financial difficulty that is continuing to increase and making it harder and harder for rural students to see a path. We see a perceived difficulty for first-generation people who aren't getting reached out to by people who are in the system, and jargon and other things are becoming a real barrier for them to even understand what's needed to get to the school they want to go to. And just the idea of return on investment. There are so many people who look at this and say, yeah, but I could do better and do less in school. All of this is to say, you guys could all be in control of changing all of that. So the things you're involved in, the campus groups, the outreach, where you go to college, maybe there's a rural area that you go to college. Maybe there's a place that you could start a pen pal work where you could do some local high school outreach and talk about these jargon terms and things and help these kids to get an idea and a flavor for school. Show them that you're welcoming and you like ideas and you like new things and you're not afraid to know about whoever's side. It doesn't matter. Be thankful for what you have this Thanksgiving, but also reach out to people who would be more than thankful to just find out from you how it could be possible and not a fantasy to have what you've taken for granted probably for the last couple of years. And that's the article of the week. So I know we left on kind of a full house note here, and we talked a lot about what you should be thankful for and how you should be reaching out. But I really do mean it. You know, we're building a culture here, and I'm not ashamed to say that the people who reach out to me and email me and we talk one-to-one are good people who want good things for other people. You really are about purpose. You really are about caring about something bigger than you and doing something about it. So, you know, even though this isn't really a turkey egg and it's just kind of this ceramic piece of artwork, it does represent something, right? The potential, that purpose of something more. And so protecting your egg, protecting your investment, protecting your world, your life is really important. But it's also important to reach out and help other people, give to other people, and then you'll gain a lot from that too. That's a great philosophy in life to have in general. It's certainly something that will serve you well in college, and I think it's something that will serve you well in your personal relationships as well. But, you know, what do I know? I'm just an expert in all this stuff. So for everybody who is not a subscribed member, I do have to bid you all farewell and a wonderful Thanksgiving because, you know, we are at the end of our time for this. We do have to move on to the questions and answers part for our subscribing members who do have burning questions that they want to know answers to. And some of them are about turkey, and I am going to tell them what I want for my Thanksgiving dinner. And I don't even know if I'm going to get it, but, you know, they're at least going to hear that I want it. So for all of you, again, feel free to subscribe. I'd love to have you here. I'd love to have you next week and asking your questions, or just feel free to email them. You might just get on the docket, and I could answer some of those even on a live stream if you want, or I'll respond in the comments section below. But, you know, until then, happy Thanksgiving.